Man, you know what? When I think about like hip hop from the 90s and that era, I was in high school and college, what I'm saying? Late 90s, like remembering the hits, the stars that emerged, the record labels that became the front runners for the culture. And when I think about Death Row Records, and let me be very clear, Death Row Records is very powerful. After NWA drew Australia, Compton, and then, of course, FBI stuff, Niggas for Life, follow up LP, 100 Miles and Running, and all this stuff, and then, Easy E's situation with NWA and Dr. Dre and everyone and the fallout. We know that Suge at some point got with Dr. Dre and they created Death Row Records. And before that, it's common knowledge that Suge Knight was like a bodyguard for a lot of industry heavyweights in Hollywood and LA. From Bobby Brown to a lot of other people, Suge was in the mix. You know what I'm saying? And him getting with Dr. Dre and and saying, hey, you know what? Easy got his thing with Jerry Heller and Ruthless Records, but this ain't working anymore. So, and there's a lot of different rumors about what actually happened. Did Easy E want to kill Suge Knight at some point? Probably so. Did he tell Jerry Heller that, like, look, I'm about to kill this dude, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. Easy E had his own way of handling things. And, when NWA was together and him putting it together, the rumor was Easy E took his money from the streets and got the group together. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, at some point, Death Row popped off, and Deep Cover movie came out, and we all know Deep Cover with Dr. Dre and Snoop, this young dude named Snoop, and it's like, who is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, Dr. Dre is back. This video is dope. You know what I'm saying? We already know the history of NWA, Easy E debut, the DOC debut, Niggas for Life, 100 Miles One, everything I was talking about already. But it's like, Dr. Dre is back, and whoever this dude Snoop is, he got something special there. You know what I'm saying? And then, of course, you fast forward to after the Deep Cover, the Chronic come out. Changed not only West Coast hip hop, but changed hip hop in general from production to engineering. You know what I'm saying? The George Clinton Parliament funk, just this engineering everything. So now you have the Chronic introduces Snoop again. Of course, you got RBS, the Lady Rays, Dance Scrub, everyone's on it. Chronic is monumental, right? But then when Snoop drops the Doggy Style album, you have like where when I think about Doggy Style in my senior year in high school and freshman in college, the controversy around that is not discussed now unless it's the people who was there. Like, man, Dolores Tucker, C. Calvin Butts, a lot of groups, whether it's religious groups or like socially conscious groups, they boycotted Doggy Style. You know what I'm saying? Like, this happened, people. But nevertheless, Doggy Style ended up being over 800,000 records the first week. Ended up being, at that time, the biggest album in hip-hop history. So when you look back, not back, but forward a whole decade to 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying, and him selling, 800, 900,000 the first week. Remember, he did that with social media. Remember, Snoop did that without it. But nevertheless, that's how large that was, and just Death Row was just monstrous. And then you had the Dog Pound album, Dog Food. You had Murder Was the Case with Snoop in like 94. You had Oh man, so many other singles that Dr. Dre was producing. You had Above the Rim soundtrack. You had Death Row at some point. I think DJ Quick might be doing some engineering. I think he engineered end up like fast forward Pac's All Eyes on Me album, double CD. But you had where Suge Knight and Dr. Dre is on top of music at some point, and it was no turning back. Now fast forward, well not fast forward, but actually in parallel, Puff with Uptown Records, Andre Harrell, rocking with Al B. Sure, rocking with Heavy D, rocking with everyone at Uptown until you establish Bad Boy, Flavor in Your Ear, Craig Mack, Juicy, Biggie, all of this stuff, and all of a sudden now Bad Boy is something real. Project Funk the World with Craig Mack, Ready to Die with Biggie at some point is one of the staple East Coast albums that probably surpassed, Nas Illmatic was 1994, April, I believe. It was an underground album. I know social media trying to change hip hop now, but yeah, in New York, Illmatic was massive, right? The Golden Child, the young dude did what he did in New York. And if you know not about me, Nas my favorite rapper. So yes, Nas in 93, 94, 95, obviously large in New York. Wu-Tang Clan, the 36 Chambers, 93, large in New York. They eventually caught flame everywhere. Black Moon entered the stage album. Who got the props? How many MC? Who got the props? How many MC must get this? All that, the whole boot camp clique end up popping off with Helter Skelter, the Shining album by Smith and Wesson, all of this, the Storm by OGC, etc. Most of this was East Coast shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. I was grown during the times. I'm just telling you from perspective. And I'm in North Carolina. And I'm like, yo, it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So yes, the East Coast was doing their thing on that level, but obviously Ready to Die, Juicy is one of the best rap songs of all time. Then you have One More Chance remix, etc. 1995 was massive for Bad Boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Parallel with Death Row. Now, everyone knows that Suge and Puff had an actual relationship. They knew each other before any beef. They actually at one point was pretty cool. But when they had situations where people actually died in the middle of some drama in Atlanta, we know about that. You can look it up. So it got real. And they were never friends again. It is what it is. But that was at one point with Vibe Magazine, the Source Magazine, and everywhere else, Bad Boy and Death Row was running hip hop. Now, when you look at fast forward from the early 90s to 2024, Suge Knight is doing all these years in prison. He's not going to get out. He's in his late 50s now. He still has a lot of time to go. Sugar's gonna die in prison. If you know what Puff is going on right now, Puff is 55, 56 years old. The feds threw so many allegations and charges at him. He didn't get bail, not $50,000, not his houses, not $50 million, all of this stuff. He's not going nowhere, and it looks like Puff is never gonna get out. So it looks like Suge and Puff are going to both probably die in prison. And you're talking about two guys who, at one point in the mid-90s, were at the apex of the hip-hop culture. On the West Coast, Death Row was the biggest label. On the East Coast, Bad Boy had Biggie. Bad Boy at some point had Mace, Total. You fast forward to G-Dep, Black Rob, 112 at some, earlier in 96, 97 with great music. The Mary J. Blige affiliation, Carl Thomas. I mean, Bad Boy was massive. Death Row, massive. And I think that when that much power happens, when that much accessibility to the culture of music, you start rubbing shoulders with the big executives in Hollywood, whether it's music or movies, entertainment, etc. I think you lose yourself. Yes, you start having all these engagements and parties. Whatever happened at those parties with adults is one thing. Underage and trafficking and all that, you guys can debate all that. I'm not even getting into all that. Obviously, if you're doing something like that, you deserve to go to jail. You deserve whatever you get. But in terms of just the music, the impact, the videos, the sales, at some point, it really was Bad Boy against Death Row. Biggie said on Life After Death, trying to sell records like Snoop's. Oops, you know what I'm saying? Like, so they were looking at each other. They were inspired by each other. They had some real situations because I want to say Puff and Suge had real associates and friends that at some point died in the middle of drama. So we know that. But nevertheless, when you think about record execs from on a higher level in every genre of music, they're not in jail right now. When you think of Hugh Hefner and the parties that the Playboy Mansion had for generations, it sounds like that man passed away peacefully at a late age later in life after a pretty remarkable life with women and parties and everything. But for Puff, not the case. So for people who got caught on camera with Puff, I said this the other day, Puff being famous for over 30 years, is he gonna have rappers, entertainers, actors, politicians on photos? Yes. A lot of these people party together, eat together, hang out together. That don't mean anything in terms of like what happened later, what happened like these freak off things that people talk about. Are they true? Obviously they're true because you saw somebody in a video or saw somebody in, in a portrait of them. They can leave a party at 11 o'clock or 12 or midnight. They ain't got shit to do with what goes on at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. throughout the night. There probably was a lot of people who partied at Puff parties from the early 90s all the way up to maybe 5-6 years ago and might have been oblivious to anything else. They came, they took pictures, the photo ops, they had fun, they drank, they ate, it was good. It's like the Rock Nation brunch. Hey, everybody just hanging out. It's LA life, man. You guys ever been to LA? Because I've been several times. Have you been to LA? There's nothing out of the norm. You know what I'm saying? But later that night or later or at some point, things happen where some people didn't know. Do you think everyone who's ever been affiliated with Puff has done something illegal? Has trafficked some women or young girls? Have recorded someone without them knowing? Have drugged them without them knowing? You got to be pretty naive to believe everyone knew everything. That's not the way real life goes. You know what I'm saying? But what I think the bigger picture is, when I look at the culture of hip hop, Death Row, Bad Boy, a lot of people died. But it seems like the two moguls on both ends are going to die in prison. On the Bad Boy side, Biggie got killed in 97. Man, Black Rob passed away. Craig Mack passed away. Some of these stories are kind of tragic. A lot of these guys passed away on the West Coast side. Not a lot of people passed away, but of course we lost Tupac, which is one person losing, and it feels like you lost 5 people because for whatever reason, at the MGM during the Mike Tyson Bruce Seldon fight, yo, get Pac out of there. Who are all the goons and the knuckleheads and all of this? Y'all fight Baby Lane and Orlando Rancher. Y'all retaliate. Y'all do all this stuff. Get Pac back up in the hotel with Kadada. You know? That didn't happen. So, Suge, you responsible. The video was out there. We saw you and Pac walking hand in hand and everybody behind y'all. Why didn't you be like, whoa, Pac, you the face of death row now, even over Snoop. We need you. Yo, y'all take Pac back up there. We'll go handle, or y'all go handle whatever y'all need to handle. So Pac ends up dying on death row watch. Biggie, Craig Mack, Black Rob, all these guys, they died on Bad Boy watch. And now, Suge Knight, late 50s, it looks like he's gonna die in prison. Now he has his own podcast. He's very vocal. He shares a lot of information. You gotta take it with a grain of salt. Puff now in his mid-50s. When the feds come get you and they raid several of your homes and they do a lot of stuff over the years, a lot of times that Fed rate is 90+%. So it looked like the 2 labels that gave a lot of excitement to music, gave a lot of excitement to hip hop and into the 90s, it looked like both moguls from both labels are gonna die in prison. Man, like when I think about country music, jazz, rock, soft rock, all this stuff, none of these guys die like from some prison or murder. They just get old, a circle of life, and they pass away. But hip hop has this black eye where our moguls, you know, you think about how many people die in hip hop, man. You know, you think about Biggie, Tupac, Big L, Nipsey, Jam Master Jay, XX Stanchion. You know, like King Von. Then you think about just other people, like, you know, of course, recipes like Prince Marky D and Heavy D and, you know, all of these people. Some of it is just health related in terms of, you know what, I get it. But some of it is like murders. People got killed. And you're like, man, no other genre deals with this. And now you got 2 moguls like Puff and Suge gonna die in prison probably. Now think about the moguls in other sports and other places in entertainment. Think about movies, for example. Hey man, Jared Bruckheimer, hey man, George Lucas and all these guys, they probably gonna pass away peacefully like some people do. In hip hop, man, this black eye, man, like it's unfortunate, man. All of this stuff, all the accomplishments means nothing because right now Puff is in like 23-hour solitary confinement. Suge does all these interviews. He has his podcast, even with him on like MSNBC or CNN the other night. He's like, he seems to be in good spirit, and maybe he is, but he's still locked behind bars, and he has kids, grown kids. I don't know, man. Like, it's almost like Bad Boy and Death Row were like the gift and the curse to hip hop. They introduce all these great artists, whether it's R&B or hip hop, rap music. Some of it matriculated into movies and other parts of entertainment. And now where are they? What is Death Row Records now? I think Snoop might own it now, but what is it? The Dog Paw album came out a couple of months ago. I liked it. East Coast, Bad Boy Records. What's the last single or album came out of Bad Boy Records? You know, it's a Greek tragedy, man. Like Puff and Suge, in a grand scheme of things, it looks as if both of these guys will die in jail, man. What you guys think, man? Peace.